Morning. It's a Monday. Here we are. We moved inside today. Kind of windy outside, a little cold. So we're inside today. We got old Blue in here. Got the heat on. Doing some sprucing up stuff. I think today we'll take and we'll put that valance on the front of the car. We'll show you what we're going to do with that. I think I'm going to take these wheel covers off and clean them up a little bit. Just some little stuff like that. Once again, walking forward to make our car, a little bit more attractive. Just a nicer car to drive and look at and so forth. So first thing here, what we've got our valance that we picked at the wrecking yard, and of course it's red, blue car. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a nice satin black finish on this. As you can see, I kind of get up a little close here. It's a chip guard wrinkle finish that the factory actually puts on this panel underneath here. Makes it a little interesting for painting. You can't really sand it because it's not a smooth surface. And if you do, you're just taking it off, and all we want to do is put a layer coat of paint on. So what I've done, cleaned it real good with some wax and grease remover first off, and then took some lacquer thinner and a rag and or wiped it down with a really wet rag of the lacquer thinner, and you can see here where it actually started to take some of it off. What the lacquer thinner does is it softens it, so when we spray our black on, it'll tooth in a little bit and give it some adhesion. I've done this a number of times on different vehicles, and it seems to work pretty well. I use this paint here that has a primer in it as well, and gives it a little bit of extra stick, if you will, I think, with the primer being included. And it's pretty durable, and it holds up well on the front of a car, and at the same time, if something happens to it, it's pretty darn easy to touch it up. So we'll be using that on there, and I think what we're going to do is, you'll notice here on our car that the factory continues this right onto the fender itself too. Our panel ends under here, and the factory continues this right here. So I think we're going to mask this off, and we're going to dust some black on this too, and we'll see what it looks like when we're done. I think it'll all tie together and look halfway decent. We'll have to transfer this little rubber lip spoiler thing on the front here onto our new panel, and go from there. So let's get some paint on our part, and we'll get it changed out. Okay, well, let's put some paint on here. We could pull out the spray guns and go down and get some regular urethane paint to paint this, but I'm going to be honest with you, for a inexpensive car like this that we may just be turning around and flipping, can't really see investing a whole lot of time and money on this. I mean, we have an $18 panel here. Just want to make the front of the car look a little bit better. And I've always found, with little spray bombs like this, if you take your time and just kind of go slow and put some nice coats on, by the time you get done, it ends up looking pretty good. It's something that, you can be proud of. But once again, kind of continuing our theme, this is the type of thing that, you guys can do at home, in the garage. You don't have a bunch of environmental issues, you know, things to worry about like you would if you had, you know, other spray stuff out. So just make sure, you know, you put down some plastic here, and I'm probably right in front of you. Sorry about that. Put down some plastic, kind of catch your overspray. And go over it, put on a light coat, let it, you know, flash off for a minute or so. Then you can come back, give it another. We'll be going ahead and probably putting another coat on it once we get it on the car. Just putting it on, you know, we may just put some scratches in there or whatever. So, and we'll be painting the other the fender extensions anyways. So we'll put a little more on when it's on the car. But that's basically kind of it. I mean, the thing, it'll dry to a satin finish. And there's black trim on the bumpers to start with. So I think it'll all kind of blend together and look like it's supposed to be that way. I think we got a pretty good coverage here. Like so. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So we'll call that pretty good for putting paint on, and we'll let that dry for a little bit. And while that's kind of drying, we'll go down underneath and we'll take off the other one and get it ready for this to go on. So the first thing we've got to do to change this out is we actually have to remove the grill. There's two little clips here. Basically, that one's on. Take these out, and the grill comes right off on these pretty easy. Not a big deal. Take that off. It just it sets in two little pins down here on the bottom. These clips. Okay, so we take that guy off. What we have is there's a brace right here that goes from the latch all the way down, and it bolts in down there next to our panel. We have to take that off. Well, at least take it loose. I find it just as easy to, we'll take it off and actually just get it out of the way. There's supposed to be a bolt at the top and the bottom, and then the one for this little filler panel here. But the bolt in the bottom is missing. I'm sure it's a byproduct of the piece that we're replacing being installed. They kind of hacked it up a little bit, and they weren't really any too concerned about how they tore this car up when they put it on. So got that off and out of the way. The little deal here. We'll put that back on after we change out the panel down under. Okay, so down under here, what we've got in this panel is there's bolts here that hold it on. There's another bolt that's actually hidden under this little rubber lip. There's bolts from the other side that hold the lip on. We'll have to take those off. There's a bolt on either side of the AC condenser right here. I don't know how well you can see that. That holds these on. You get a couple here for the skid plate, and this here in the center is where the bolt was supposed to be for that brace that we just took off. So we got to take those off, and this panel will come right off. It's pretty easy to take it off. It's not bad. The only thing that becomes a problem is some of you guys that live, you know, in the parts of the country where things rust real bad, you know, you'll start to take these off, and before you know it, everything's, you know, stripped and broken and stuff, and then it becomes more of a pain in the neck. So, but here, you know, we're out west and not really a ton of rust problems, so we're pretty fortunate as far as that goes. One thing I'll point out while we're under here, you notice that the car is, I've got it jacked up, but I've also, you notice it's sitting on jack stands. Always use jack stands, blocks of wood, or something like that. Don't ever jack one of these things up and get underneath it and mess around with it while it's just sitting on the jack. That's just, you know, it's a quick temptation to do, but all you're doing is looking for a problem. So, you know, use some good stands. If you don't have good stands, you know, block it up somehow with something fairly solid that, you know, it can't come down off of. And just be safe while you do this. And you'll have a lot more fun kind of messing around with this hobby if you're, you know, around to do it for a while without, you know, getting yourself killed or going to the hospital on a frequent, regular basis. So try to find a spot here where you guys can see what I'm doing. What I may have to do is I'll just set you guys off to the side, or maybe I'll just one-hand this and do it that way. I can do it. So, all right, let's see what I can do here. All right. Well, I think that gives you guys a pretty good view. Some bolts here. Let's see what we can do about getting that one out. I have air tools could be using, make it a lot faster, but I'm kind of trying to do it the same way that you guys would be doing it. So, you know, not everybody has air tools, so we'll just do it this way. Get those out, and of course the one that we talked about here wasn't there, so we never had to take that one off. Get in these. See, this is, we're kind of lucky here. These bolts just come right out, and that's basically because, you know, the cars are really not very rusty. I mean, you don't find that much here. And usually what I find, if you do come across a car that's kind of rusty, it's come from somewhere else. It's not really a native car. This one here has got a little bit of rust on it, but I think that's because it was, you know, up at, you know, in Truckee, California, which is up in the Sierra, so they do get some snow. They do use, you know, salts and stuff like that on the road to melt the snow, so you're going to find a little bit more rust in a car from that area than down here in the basin. This panel here is just ugly. They smashed this thing to pieces to get this thing on there. But, you know, I guess it worked. Didn't fall off anyways. So, okay, up here. there. This is not even tight. Extension. Body panels, for the most part, you know, if you look around, pretty straightforward in changing them. Sometimes you will run across some panels that, you know, are welded in places and things like that, so you got to do a little bit more to get them off. But usually, you know, especially front end group of pieces, you know, they'll come off for you without too much of a problem. This rubber piece here is kind of beat up. We'll have to see what we can make that look like. With this car being a GL10, that's why that rubber piece is there. The regular DLs, GLs, the Loyal series, they didn't have that. It was pretty much only found on this model. So, doesn't, other than appearance, I mean, I don't think it actually really has much of a use, really. This panel being all beat up and whatnot. Somebody's got an extra screw in this one. Working on old cars, you never know what you're going to find. Okay, put that guy out of the way, and off we go. And there you have it. That's kind of what's left of this one. So, not pretty for sure. A little bit of this here. They've got, oh no. Well, not a big deal. There's some grind stuff in there. I don't think it'll affect it too much. What we'll do when we put this, put our new one on, I'm just going to spray some undercoating in here underneath it, kind of seal it up. Probably wouldn't really matter too much one way or the other, but I don't know, just give it a little bit just in case any of these edges in here start rusting or anything like that. Basically, this here is the radiator support. It goes across the front of the car. I guess they had some kind of issues in here where they were thinking of doing something with this, but didn't get too far. So we'll put some undercoat on it and seal that up again before we put this back on our car. Well, what we've done here is we sprayed this area here with some rubberized undercoating, give a little bit of protection. I transferred over the rubber lip on the bottom of this. Guys, the lip is pretty killed. So that piece there is just gonna be what it's gonna be. At some point, if I care enough, maybe I'll try to find another one, but right now I don't care that much. So, put this back up in. Get it in. Get a screw started over here. Kind of hold it for us. There. It can't fall out on us now, anyways. Let's see if we can get this side in. Kind of funny because it really didn't look like it, but some of our bodywork here on this fender is kind of bent, so maybe better off starting that side over there first. This side may be a little easier to get in. Take that out. Whoops. That's why I put the screw in. I'll hold it. Okay. So that'll hold that there. Come back over. This side in. Trying to do it with just a little bit of flex that's in this panel and a little bit of flex that's in the fender. Get them. There we go. Another screw. You know, it's funny because sometimes you'll look at something like this and they look like they're in pretty good shape, but if something's been bent one piece, even just a little bit, all the corresponding pieces are bent as well. So a lot of times you gotta mess around a little bit getting everything back into alignment. hopefully, when you're all done, you end up back in the same place. Okay, this side's looking pretty good. I ran some blue tape on both sides up here. Like I say, when we get to that point, we're going to mist on another coat of paint. It's like this one's lined up pretty well. Okay. Extremely graphic. We're just really considered signs. Are these something that you would sell? Living into prices, right? Okay. Things that could happen. Then, you know, throw something at me. Now, one of the things that I was saying in our last video is that whenever I take pieces like this off, I always try to keep the hardware. And this is why, because this bolt right here, now it's missing. So I've got the hardware from taking it off the other car. We're good to go. Everything started okay. Good. Looking good. These bumper cars were made around the 1940s. They're made by a company called Auto Scooter, and they're made of steel, not fiberglass. That's how you can tell the age of them. The flood actually bellied the floor, lifted the building up, and brought it back down. So this building has to come down. It's got to come down. This stuff's got to come out of here. Wouldn't you rather have us please help you take one thing out of here now? To help you out. I mean, get you rolling. You know, there's a great market for this stuff. That one started. It's just a great piece. Oh, we're looking pretty good here, guys. We're getting them all. Well, I think in the neighborhood of $2,000. In. This crazy $2,000 number, and I thought to myself, all of them? I'm not sure where we were in between there, and I knew that Frank was not thinking anywhere near $2 grand. I've seen these go for around $800 before, so I thought I'll throw out a $500 bill and see where you got on that. And I'm looking at about $500. I was thinking to myself, if we can score one of these, this is going to be a hell of a pick. It's like to be sitting right here at $5. And you bought all that other stuff today. All right. Okay. That. Now that we bought the bumper car, that's the easy part. Now we have to figure out how to get it out of here. Frankie Neil had his little posse with him. These guys were big, had some big guns on them. So we're very fortunate to have them help us move it. Ready? All right, once you get everything started, what you can do is start tightening them up. Hold everything back in place. Yeah, the fender's a little stretched there. He was extremely passionate about this amusement park. I would love to see that one. So once again, it's another, another project here. Not a lot of money. Invest a little bit of time, a little bit of paint. Now the front of the car doesn't look like it, was used in a Hollywood stunt scene. So After I get these bolts tightened up, I'm going to run a little bit more blue tape around under this bumper. I'm going to mist on another coat of the black, and we'll see what it looks like when it all comes together. Well, our panel's all on. Everything's back together here. Got some paint on it. Take a look here. It's the way it blends with the fender bottoms right there. Kind of follows the line of the bumper. And it comes back. So it's kind of all flows together this way. Get down here. Okay, so there you go. A lot better. Major improvement than that old wreck panel that was in there. And you know, I think it looks halfway decent with the black. I mean, it's not something that's really sticks out as being totally wrong. I mean, you could almost see them doing that at the factory. A lot of cars do have this type of thing. And it's the type of thing that down the road, if we ever got involved in anything else as far as, like, you know, fixing more stuff on this car and maybe putting a little paint on it, we could just clean this up and easily paint it blue again. So, I don't know, I think I'm happy with that. I'll probably just leave it that way. We're kind of kicking around. We kind of like this car. This car is actually turning out to be a pretty decent driver. Get up here a sec. You know, in the last couple weeks I've been driving it around. I probably already saved, you know, about $100 in gas compared to driving my truck. So it's, you know, at this point it's almost paying for itself. Getting a return on it anyways. So, you know, we may keep it around for a while. Maybe we'll do some other fun projects with it. One of the things that we could do, thinking about it a little bit, is actually doing a lift on it. I'm doing about a 4-inch lift. Take the wheels and we'll machine and re-drill the hubs under the wheels for you know, either 6-lug Toyota or 6-lug GM wheels. We can put some bigger tires on that way. And just kind of a fun little thing. Maybe make it a little bit of a, you know, if you want to cruise out in the desert and play around a little bit, it'd be good for that, in addition to, you know, driving it around every day. So just kind of an idea of what we may do. Anybody has any thoughts on it, just go ahead and leave the comment down at the bottom, and you know, like I say, we're thinking about it. So we've got a lot of other little things to mess around with it, and we still got our little white car to do. And I'm working a deal with another guy on the old Legacy that's out back, possibly getting that running and trading him for another E81 hatchback car. So, you know, we got some stuff going on. We got lots of little projects coming up that'll keep us busy. No lack of anything to do, that's for sure. So, I think I'm going to cut this one off. That's about it for now. I think we'll, maybe the rest of the day today, maybe I'll mess around with these wheel covers a little bit. I got a couple other little things to do. Nothing major. And we'll just continue to improve our old Subaru wagon. I'm kind of hoping these things that we're doing are giving you guys some ideas, you know, things that you can do on projects of your own, you know, make your own personal cars better, or, you know, things that you can do to spruce up something to turn around and try to make $1. But I appreciate everybody that's watching. I appreciate the people that have subscribed. We're going to keep bringing you some more stuff that hopefully you find interesting. But anyways, thanks a lot for watching, and until the next time, take it easy.